Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about the United States of America, because during the previous 12 hours we received lots of very important statements and very interesting articles. Pentagon Chief Pat Hegseth stated that 3 nights ago in the center of Caracas, Venezuela, nearly 200 of our greatest Americans went to the center of Caracas. It seems that the Russian air defense system didn't work very well, did they? He said. Furthermore, we had a few more statements made by the President of the United States of America. He said that we will worry about Greenland in 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days. We need Greenland. So according to information we have, Trump gives Denmark 2 months. What is going to happen within these 2 months? After these 2 months, very difficult to understand. But one thing is clear, that the United States of America will try to improve their dominance in this region. Furthermore, we received this article published by the Department of State. This is our hemisphere, and President Trump will not allow our security to be threatened. Washington once again reminded that the White House considers both Americas to be an exclusive zone of U.S. interest. The caption on the image published by the State Department reads, "This is our hemisphere." So, but we know that currently Denmark is not going to accept anything regarding Greenland, but it seems that it's just a matter of time or something like this. Furthermore, during the previous 12 hours, we continue receiving lots of updates about the former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Here we can see the moment when he arrived for his first appearance at the U.S. District Court in Manhattan. According to information we have, Nicolas Maduro considers himself as the prisoner of war. "I am the president of Venezuela and I consider myself a prisoner of war. They captured me in my house in Caracas." That was stated by Maduro during the court. So as you can see, he is trying to change the legal right that the United States of America can use against him. Now let's move to Europe. As of Europe, very difficult to explain what exactly is happening here, because we don't see that Europe is something that is united. Let's say on the matter of Greenland, we see that almost the entire Europe is united regarding the situation in Ukraine, but we have completely different positions regarding Greenland, which means that obviously something big and huge might happen within the next 2 months when talking about Denmark. And telling the truth, I won't be surprised if Denmark asks for some help, if Denmark asks Russia or China for some help or some security guarantees within the same period of time. So everything is possible in this world. Now let's discuss the situation in Ukraine. During the previous 12 hours, we received lots of important updates, and let's talk about the situation on the ground. And let's start with the northern directions. Let's start with the Kupiansk direction. During the previous 24 hours, during the previous 12 hours, the map has been adjusted once again. So this is the situation by the end of the 5th of January of 2026, and this is the beginning of the 6th of January of 2026. So as you can see, we have changes around the settlements of Tishinkovo and Kindrashevka. These two territories were colored as the territories under control of Russian forces, and we have small adjustments in the southern part of Kindrashevka in Ukrainian favor. In this video we can see, this video was published by pro-Russian sources, and in this video we can see how Russian troops were moving in the northeastern part of the settlement of Tishinkovka. So this is the place, and these are the Russian soldiers here. So this is the Russian soldiers, they're waving with their hands. Based on this video we came to the conclusion that the northeastern part of the settlement of Tishinkovka, these farms or these constructions, are under control of the armed forces of the Russian Federation, as well as the northern part of the settlement of Kindrashevka. Furthermore, we had this video published by pro-Russian sources, and here we can see how Russians were attacking and destroying forces and positions of the armed forces of Ukraine on the territory of the settlement by the name of Kindrashevka and in its southwestern part. So based on these two videos, we adjusted the map. So another important thing that when talking about the city of Kupiansk itself, we see that the Russians have almost lost their positions in the city, but it's not something that the Russians are worried about. According to information information we have, since the beginning of 2026, the Russians managed to improve their positions significantly. Let's call it like along R79 road. So the Russians, during the previous days, we had video, managed to improve their positions in the northern part of Mirova. The Russians improved their positions on the eastern part of Tishinkovka. So the Russians are trying to cut Ukraine's logistic and probably encircle Ukrainians who are currently located in the western part of the settlement. So we are talking about this territory. Now Ukrainians need to counterattack with the purpose to restore control over this territory. Otherwise, they would be forced to fall back from the northwestern part of the city of Kupiansk due to the lack of supply and logistic from the mainland. At the same time, we continue receiving updates from the southern part of the city of Kupiansk. A video was published by Ukrainian sources how they entered the central market of the city of Kupiansk and how they managed to capture several Russian soldiers. Based on this video, we have adjusted the southern part of the city. So the situation remains tense. Ukrainians continue sending more and more reinforcements and reserves in the direction of the city. The Russians control the main logistic lines, and it seems that currently we are not at the 6th of January of 2026. It seems that we are somewhere around in September or even August of 2025, because during that period of that, during those months, we had almost the similar picture. The Russians were advancing in the northern part of the city of Kupiansk to the north of the settlement with the purpose to cut the logistic, and then Russians entered the northwestern part, and then they continue advancing further in the southern direction. It seems that the battle for the city of Kupiansk started once again from the beginning. Now let's talk about the Borova direction. During the previous 12 hours, we received lots of updates. It seems that the Russians intensified their activities in this direction. It seems that the Russians are tasked to improve their positions around the settlement of Borova and probably even to answer the city from the north. This is a very important settlement for Ukrainians, and basically this is one of the most important settlements on this side of the river of Oskol, and if Ukraine loses control over the settlement, most likely Ukraine will be forced to fall back from the entire pocket in the southern Kupiansk direction. Also, we received lots of updates from the Slaviansk direction. As for this territory, as you can see, we have lots of icons. If we increase the numbers of updates since the beginning of the year, we will have the biggest number of icons through the entire line in comparison with any other direction through the entire line of combat contact. The Russians control the main supply lines, and today, for example, a very interesting video was published by pro-Russian sources. Here we can see a Russian drone that was flying above the river of Seversky Donetsk, trying to search and to find Ukraine's forces positions or something like this, or the drone was just patrolling, and at some point the drone discovered an engineering equipment of the armored forces of Ukraine. So here we can see a truck that brought some sand to create a bridge or to create a river crossing. And when the Russians discovered this equipment, the Russians attacked this vehicle with FPV drone. This episode took place right exactly in this area, and as you can see, according to this video, the Ukrainians, according to this video, have almost finished the construction of this bridge. This is a very powerful bridge. It's very difficult to destroy the bridge of the type, but the bridge was completed for almost 80%. So, which means that most likely this is not the only bridge through the river of Seversky Donetsk that Ukraine is using for the logistic purposes. We believe that there are more bridges of the type, which means that despite the fact that the Russians established complete FPV drone control over this territory, we believe that Ukraine still have possibilities to bring forces, reinforcements and reserves in the direction of the city of Liman. So this is the situation in this area. The Russians continue controlling the sky, but without huge changes on the ground. There is just one small adjustments in the area of the settlement of Sviatopokrovskaya. We will not watch the video, but here we might see how Ukrainians with FPV drones were attacking Russian infantry that was moving through these fields. Based on this video, we have adjusted the map, and these are the changes on the ground. So the Russians right now are focused to maintain the lines and to connect the settlements of Sviatopokrovskaya, Platonovka and of course Zakitna. So we are talking about this gray zone. The Russians want to establish complete control and to secure this territory. At the same time, the Russians continue their offensive operation further in the direction of Seversky Donetsk Donbass canal. We continue receiving lots of videos of artillery strikes, of aviation bombardments. So this direction probably is the most active, but once again the weather is so bad, so neither the Russians nor the Ukrainians are able to attack, are able to move very fast. Furthermore, tomorrow is the Orthodox Christmas, so that is why I don't think we are going to see too many activities and too many actions neither from the Russian nor from the Ukrainian side. It's going to be, probably there are going to be some changes, but not so many as we can imagine. Let's talk about Pokrovsk-Mirnograd direction. During the previous 24 hours, as during the previous days, the Russians were mainly concentrated on the triangle between the villages of Grishina, Shevchenka and Rodinska. So the Russians continue bombing and attacking these three lines. Ukraine uses these three lines and this gap for the logistic purposes and to, let's say, introduce additional forces that later Ukraine uses to attack the cities of Pokrovsk, Mirnograd and Rodinska. If we increase the numbers of updates since the beginning of this month, we might see the concentration of Russian fire over these huge tree lines. So this is the main artery of the armored force Ukraine that Ukraine uses for the offensive purposes. So that is why the Russians are over-concentrated over this territory, trying to cut this area and this logistic, at least with some fire, with artillery or aviation strikes. As for the Zaporozhye direction, during the previous 24 hours, we haven't received anything. The Russians most likely continue the clearing operation of the city of Guliapole. The Ukrainians are saying that there are still Ukrainian soldiers on the territory of the settlement, but it's already the 6th or the 7th day when we haven't received anything regarding additional changes on the ground. The same situation and about this western Zaporozhye direction. During the previous 24 hours, the Russians were mainly concentrated on tree lines, fields and fortifications that are located to the north of the settlements of Lukyanovsk and Stepnogorsk. In this video we can see how Russians discovered another temporary deployment point of the armored forces of Ukraine, and then the Russians began bombing and attacking this territory. So nobody is rushing, everybody is waiting for the end of the Orthodox Christmas, everybody is waiting for the end of this bad weather, and of course everybody uses this time for the regrouping process, and most likely when the situation finishes, and it will happen probably after the 15th of January, then we're gonna see something bigger that we can see right now. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for your watching, subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.